Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, the same man that wrote The Martian, and he is a sci-fi genius. This is the most excited I've been about a book in a really long time. I could not put it down. In fact, I was reading it until 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, even though I had to get up for work at 7 o'clock on the Monday. It was just that good, and it gripped me from literally, this is no exaggeration, the very first page. If you want to get a feel for this book, before I even describe it to you, think Interstellar, think Arrival, and think The Martian. 3 blockbuster sci-fi films. This book blends all 3 of those movies into one brilliant book, and it is such a fun ride. It was really, really thought-provoking, and not only that, it was brilliantly funny from start to finish. And not just funny as in, yeah, they drop some humor in there like most books do. No, I'm talking, I was laughing out loud funny, which is something I absolutely never do when I read books. This is one of the first books I've ever laughed repetitively out loud because it was so funny. And in fact, I was laughing so much and reading with such a big smile on my face that my fiance kept looking to me saying, "You are really enjoying that book, aren't you?" And I kept having to think to myself, yeah, I'm actually loving this ride. I cannot tell you guys, this was a fantastic modern sci-fi. Now, this actually wasn't my first exposure to Andy Weir because I've seen the movie The Martian, which is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies. And now I feel compelled to read his other books. So he's got The Martian, Artemis was his second book, and now this one, Project Hail Mary. He's got 3 books, and I can only imagine that they are all phenomenal because this book really did blow my mind. And just quietly, if this doesn't get turned into a movie adaptation, I will be, first of all, extremely disappointed, and I'll be even more extremely surprised because this has blockbuster sci-fi movie written all over it. Now, I'm going to give you the best breakdown that I can without spoiling anything in this book, because this book is all about discovery. It's all about the adventure and the mystery and the intrigue and the suspense being built, and it's a kind of hard one to describe without spoiling some of the book. So I'm going to avoid all of that, give you no spoilers, and try to just give you a nice little sum up so you have an idea of what it's about. The premise of Project Hail Mary is that scientists have discovered that the Earth's sun has actually started to deteriorate or dim. It's losing its strength, its light, and its heat, and that can have incredibly detrimental effects, and in fact they're expecting extinction across many species, including humankind. So what do? They collect as much data as they can, they try to put a team together to solve the problem. Except for one glaring issue. Our main character, and this is on page 1, wakes up and doesn't know who he is, where he is, or what he's there for, and the only people in the room with him are 2 dead people who are attached to medical machines but have decayed, and he doesn't even know who he is or where he is. So effectively, the best scientists in the world have put together a team, and we've only got one person remaining, and he doesn't even know why he's there and has no memory of the situation. So the way the book plays out, again, no spoilers, the way the book plays out is we go back and forth between the present tense, where he's trying to work out what he needs to do and how he can do it, and also going back to the past tense, where we're going through his memories and he's relearning why he's actually on this mission, and he's relearning that there's a big problem on Earth that he has been chosen to resolve. Now, something that for me elevated this book to another level was that it actually was so well written and the science felt so realistic that it actually felt like a story that was plausible. It almost felt non-fiction. It felt like this is something that could happen or that will happen, even though it's totally fictional. It didn't read as a fictional book. And yeah, there were parts that didn't feel completely realistic, but for the most part, it did feel realistic to me. And I really did find myself thinking, wow, this stuff feels like it could really happen one day. And while it's fresh on my mind, because I've only just finished reading this book last night, or first thing this morning really, is that there were actually some really fun facts throughout this book. Like I said earlier, this book was heavy on the science, and while it was heavy on the science, it was still really easy to follow. And there were some just really, really cool and fun facts in there. Let me grab a couple for you. I jotted them down as I read them. So this first one, he says that flat panels on spaceships are a terrible idea because there needs to be some kind of atmosphere inside them. So flat panels are awful. Random fact, but pretty cool to know. When European mariners first came across Asian mariners, no one was surprised they both used sails on their boats. Of course, why not? But cool to know. Whales sound like they do because they move air back and forth across their vocal cords without expelling it. Did you know that? I bet you didn't. Diseases change. Antibiotics kill almost all the disease in the body, but some survive. By using antibiotics, humans are accidentally teaching diseases how to survive those antibiotics. So these are some really cool facts, guys, and he drops facts like this all the way through the book, and they're just little gems in there. Something else that most people would look over, but I really appreciated about this story, was the level and the attention to detail. It really felt like he left no stone unturned, even something down to the spaceship that he was on. The amount of things that could have gone wrong in this mission, and this was a very long mission. Again, I won't spoil anything, but they had to think of so many different situations and different things that could have occurred and things that could have gone wrong, and it felt like Andy Weir touched on all of them. It's like he really thought of every single different situation that could arise and solved it with technology that was on board this ship and in other parts of the book. And I just thought that was brilliant. He just very clearly took a lot of interest and a lot of care in this story and really crafted it in a way that was definitely very intentional and very deliberate. He didn't just think of a cool story and just put it together. He went all the way out for it. He left no stone unturned. And as a reader, that absolutely bled off the pages. Now, I don't want to say anything else because the less you know about this story, the better the experience is going to be. It is that kind of a book. I don't want to give anything away. I want you to read it and experience it for the first time yourself. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and you want to see more from me. Until next time, see ya!